Hi, I'm Rishi, and here's a scene I love. This time, it's the dance scene from Joachim Trier's The Worst Person in the World. The movie tells the story of Julie, a woman straddling 30, who's navigating her relationship to the big things in life, like career, love, ambition. Often, the film plays like a breezy romantic comedy, but it also captures this deeper feeling of what it's like to be of a certain age and drift in and out of jobs and relationships in a city, in this case Oslo, with its familiar corners and rhythms. That duality of the film is exemplified perfectly in the dance scene. It's from the movie's first chapter, which is all about Julie meeting her boyfriend Aksel's friends during a trip to the countryside. And since Aksel is over a decade older than her, it's also about the judgment she faces from some of his friends, especially those who are already parents.
Nei, jeg har en.
The dance scene itself is fairly straightforward. It's a group of adults letting loose after a long day of bourgeois leisure. You get the sense that outdoor fun has been had, dishes have been washed, somewhere there are kids in beds who have finally fallen asleep, and now it's time for the adults to dance. Julie kicks off the scene, along with this man in the pink shirt, who taunts some of the others who lounge in the other room. Slowly, as the music becomes undeniable, one by one the loungers are pulled onto their feet. Although the scene feels light and improvisational, it's thoughtfully constructed. For example, consider the composition that opens the scene. Julie's in the foreground, while one of Aksel's friends, Carrie-Anne, lounges in a distant room in the background. The camera's brief shift in focus from Julie to Carrie-Anne plants a subtle Chekhov's gun by suggesting that maybe Carrie-Anne is the secret subject of the scene. Is she looking at Aksel's new young girlfriend with suspicion? Or maybe envy? The insinuation that Carrie-Anne is going to play some kind of central role in the scene is reinforced by the way the camera glances at her a number of times after this. It's toward the end of the scene that Chekhov's gun finally goes off, so to speak. Julie manages to drag Carrie-Anne onto the dance floor, but then things get a bit too energetic and Carrie-Anne's head is accidentally smashed into an overhead light. In that way, the subtle intrigue of the initial composition is resolved, especially since Julie later laments to Aksel that maybe it was somehow her fault by being too enthusiastic, thereby contributing to her general sense of feeling out of place in Aksel's life. Now, all of this is fine, but there's one other thing about this scene that I really love. It's a decision that Joachim Trier as the director makes near the end. Just after Carrie-Anne enters the dance floor, Trier suddenly throws us outside the home. For the first time in 2 minutes, the camera stops moving completely, and from the distance of the yard, we watch the characters dancing through the glass. And then, after 5 long seconds, we're plunged right back into the middle of the dancing, with all that moody lighting and skittish focus. What are we to make of that? Why interrupt a scene in this way to show us a prolonged, objective point of view? I can only guess, but I know that whatever the answer is, it exemplifies why I love movies. It exemplifies the mysterious, abstract, expressive power of the cut. At first, I interpreted the abrupt contrast that the shot provides as consistent with the playful, mildly comic nature of the whole scene, or maybe a way to break up the action prior to Carrie-Anne hitting her head. But the second time I watched the movie, those 5 seconds in the grass stood out to me in a way that ended up shaping my experience of the rest of the film. I knew those 5 seconds were intentionally situated. Someone had to think of going out and capturing that shot in the first place. And then, in the editing room, after laboring over the tightness of the dancing and the subtle drama between Carrie-Anne and Julie, that shot from the yard had to be carefully inserted. And someone had to decide for it to last 5 seconds and not 4, let alone 3. And why? Maybe for nothing more than a laugh, or to break up the action. Or maybe, whether conscious or not, it was to communicate in the most eloquent, light-handed, and subtly moving way what Macbeth communicated to the heir after being informed of the death of his lady. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. In other words, that all of our struggles, all of our mundane dramas and antics, when seen from a lens sufficiently still and distant, are insignificant. More to the point, they are fleeting and somewhat pitiable, simply because we can't help but act as if our struggles are enduring and important. Right or wrong, that's what that shot said to me, and it made the rest of the movie feel a bit less like a magical romance and a bit more like an existential portrait of that abyss between young adulthood and middle age, in which life can feel at times so full and yet so undetermined. I started to resonate more with simple but quietly meaningful shots of Julie wandering around Oslo, the city feeling like both a playground of promise as well as a graveyard of memories and roads not taken. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.